Welcome to the Put On Waivers Media Group, home of the Put On Raiders podcast and the Student Body Right podcast. This is your place for the best breakdowns and the best insight for those who fight on and bleed silver and black. Now, here are your hosts, Dwayne Douglas and Ryan Holmes.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Student Body Right USC podcast. I'm your host, Dwayne Douglas, and I am podcasting on the beautiful shores of the Pacific Ocean. Beautiful day out here in Southern California. PORSBR is my Twitter handle, so reach me there. And also put on waivers _podcast. Put on waivers _podcast. You can catch me on Instagram there, so hit me up over there if you want to have any questions for the show. And we also have the text line as well. Got some questions on the text line here as well. So Chip Kelly leaves UCLA. And I know, UCLA is doing themselves a disservice in a lot of ways by not developing a really competent football program. But that's on them. We can talk trash about, Chip Kelly, but Chip Kelly kind of wiped the floor with us last time we played. So I can't really go in as much as I want to go in on UCLA. But really sitting there thinking about it, this could be a solid program, not like a big time program, but just a middle of the road program, a program who like maybe every other year or every 3 years could really accomplish some things at UCLA. But these guys don't want to recruit. They don't want to do the work. If you look at Michigan and some of these other teams in college football are hiring a general manager. They're hiring a general manager because they want to be able to handle all the different things, all the different aspects of college football that don't have to do with coaching and recruiting. That's a big thing. That's a big deal. Like they don't want to be able to. They want to be able to coach. You saw the coach from Boston College left because he wanted to go out here and just coach football. And I think a lot of these guys want to coach football, but I think, you can say that, but if you don't want to recruit, right? If you don't want to recruit, then you just can't be a college football coach. All right. If you don't want to recruit, you don't want to be a college football coach, because that's the part where you are really selling the program to these young men who, yes, some of them are going to be into it. Some of them are going to be fickle. Some of them are going to say, I'm not coming to LA. I can go to Oregon. I can go to USC. I can go all these different places. Why am I going to come to UCLA? But that's part of the deal here. And I think that they need to just go back if you're UCLA, because I think it's important for UCLA. I don't want UCLA to beat the Trojans, obviously. I think it's important for West Coast football for them to be actually decent, to be good. And they have been good. They were good on the Chip Kelly. I mean, they went 8 wins or more in all the years he was there. But like as far as just the NIL and all the other stuff, they just don't want to do all that stuff. And I think for them, they have to ask themselves, if you're not going to do it in football, like what is at this point, what is the point of having a program? They have to be able to sit back and say, hey, I want to have a program, or you don't want to have a program. I mean, it's all up to UCLA and also what the Bruins want to do. I understand, the state school thing, all that stuff like that. There's state schools all over the country, and you can blame California, you can blame whoever you want. I mean, if they really wanted to have a big time program, they could have a big time program. And I'm not talking about, on the same level as Georgia, Alabama, those kind of schools, but they can have a program where they really are, just a tough team to develop, tough team to deal with as far as that goes. I mean, that could be UCLA. That could be like, I'm going to. First of all, I mean, playing in a Rose Bowl is just the worst and ever. I mean, even when they're damn good, I mean, it's impossible to play there, and have any kind of home field advantage. So that's a problem. But there's things that you can do to fix it. If you get somebody who's passionate, first of all, you gotta get somebody who's passionate about Los Angeles and passionate about being in Los Angeles. That is the number one thing they have to be able to do. Like you cannot, there's no other way for UCLA to work if you don't get somebody who's passionate about that city, somebody who's passionate about staying for a while because you need somebody who's going to stay for a while. And the general manager piece, all these different pieces definitely are something that they could definitely look at to improve that program. But obviously, I don't want to improve. I don't care how good, long as we beat them every year, I could care less. But at the end of the day, like for the whole scope of West Coast football, like I don't want to see UCLA football go away. I don't want to see them go away to the point where like they are irrelevant. I want that game to mean something when we play them. I want them to have a good record. We have a good record, and we play them and we beat them. I mean, that's how this whole point system is going to work for the college football playoff. I don't want you play a bunch of cupcakes. Now it's pretty hard. Now it's pretty hard to play cupcakes as far as that goes. So, that's enough UCLA talk for me. It's making me gross as it is. I had to watch all 22 tape of Denton Lynn's defense and watching. I'm watching for Denton Lynn's defense, but I'm still having to watch UCLA footage. So I'm kind of all UCLA'd out on a USC Student Body Right USC podcast. So we got Tom Loy, and then we got Josh Pate. I think a couple things here about USC and this downtime we have in college football. So number one, this is a downtime. National Signing Day used to be a big thing. Now it's not. They need to change that. This is a great time for college football to kind of own the market here. As far as the eyeballs go, as far as people getting really excited about the fact that who's somebody signing here. Some school flipped this guy. Those things are the cool things that we used to grow up on college football. So then not having that kind of stinks. But with that slow time, when you are a national brand and you work for a national publication like Josh Pate and Tom Loy, you're going to take shots at big markets, and LA is a big market. USC is a big blue blood program, and you have an opportunity to take a shot. And whether you care or not, or whether you believe what you're saying or not, we live in the Skip Bayless, part of media where we're just going to just take shots, and it gets clicks, it gets videos, it keeps people, keeps my bosses happy, all those things like that. Does it delve in reality to a certain degree? I mean, if USC doesn't win football games, you can't sit there and get mad when people talk trash about USC. They gotta win games. And I think it's easy to sit back and say, all these things about USC because they haven't won, and they're coming off a down year, and they had Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams can't play linebacker. Caleb Williams can't play corner. Caleb Williams can't rush the passer. I'm not making excuses for USC. I think a knowledgeable person knows what the problem was with USC. It was the defensive, idiocy, if you will, of Alex Grinch. I mean, it's just really bad football by Alex Grinch. My favorite shot of last season to show how bad the Trojans defense was when Caleb Williams scored a touchdown. And before he likes to sit down just chill in between. Before he could sit down, he had to go back on the field because it was an 80-yard run by Washington, and they scored on two-play drive. They didn't even get a chance to even celebrate a touchdown. Extra point, kickoff, 80-yard run, touchdown, Penix, and then you're back on the field. That was UCLA. That was USC football. That was USC football. So that sounds like a whole lot of fun. If you're a quarterback, right, to play with that kind of defense. The defense is bad. It was really bad. It was embarrassing. All those things. So those are the things that that he had to deal with. It is what it is. It's gone. Caleb Williams is going to be the first pick in the draft, despite what Merrill Hodge said. If you want to check that out, go check that out. I'm not going to play that trash on my show. But they're going to move. I don't live and breathe on everything that the 24/7, like maybe somebody from Rivals or somebody like that says, who doesn't cover the team on day in, day out basis. Like, I haven't heard any, like, Georgia, he's from Georgia. Julian Lewis. Do they have a shot? Does he live there? Yes. I get it. Like, that part of it may happen. But when Tom Joy comes on and says Indiana has a real shot to get him, I mean, you can say that about anybody. You could legitimately say that about anybody. You can just say, hey, so and so has a shot to get so and so. Yeah, I mean, if they have a conversation, then of course they have a shot to get him. But you really think the best quarterback in the 2025 class is going to go to Indiana? Indiana football. We're talking football. I'm not talking about Isaiah Thomas and talking about Bobby Knight. I'm talking about football. Like, that's not the reality of the world. I mean, he's not going there. I don't care. I don't care who's coaching him. I don't care I don't care if Tom Landry's coaching there. He ain't going. So let's just be 100% real as far as that goes. Pick six here. Pick six is what I like to have. A little segment here. I will pick 6 questions, if you will, and then we'll that you guys sent in. So I really appreciate those as well to the show. And I know one question we have is, how come the episode with USCJ was so short? Okay, USCJ will be on every month. I'll go on his show. He'll go on my show. It'll be a good time. It'll be fun times. I would say this about him. I thought that he was coming. He basically was coming from Mobile, Alabama, from the Senior Bowl. I didn't want to keep him too long because he probably was exhausted. So I get it. Everybody's gonna say, hey, a little bit longer. We'll try to have it a little longer than 21 minutes next time. When USCJ comes on next time. But he always gives great information. Always gives great energy. I think that's probably the best thing about my favorite things about him is that he gives great energy to USC football and very positive energy as well too. So as far as that goes, they'll definitely look forward to next time we have the USCJ on. Dwayne, how come you don't talk about high school recruiting a lot on your show? Well, number one, for me, I talk about the team that is, and I talk about transfer portal guys and people who are already in college. There's so many. I'm not going to be able to do that as well as 24/7 or Rivals or On3, all those guys who actually travel and watch these kids play. And kids flip. I don't want to spend like a lot of time. I just spend a lot of time on a kid, and then he flips to another school. Then you feel like you kind of wasted a lot of time talking about a kid who never was going to come to your school in the first place. Probably, most likely, maybe using USC as a leverage point, as leverage for another school. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I don't really bother with it too much. I mean, obviously I spent a little bit of time on Julian Lewis because he's a quarterback, and that's what Lincoln Riley and USC quarterback and wide receiver is what they're known for. Hopefully we can get known for defensive players again under Danton Lynn and Coach Henny and all those guys like that. But for me, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of my time I'll go over the class. And then we'll talk about it a little bit more during the spring, before the spring game. But that's why I don't spend a lot of time on it, because I know the kids. I watch the huddle film. I do all that stuff, but the kids flip so often. They flip so often. They move on. They will be here for a year, and I think sometimes, do you really want to, spend all that time on looking footage, doing an all 22 and all that stuff like that just to have that kid bounce? We'll see. Maybe I'll do a little bit more on the bigger prospects, but not on. I'll do a video on the entire class as they get ready, but not like a day in, day out basis. As far as that goes, because kids it's a big decision for those kids, and they gotta look at a lot of different things like playing time. They gotta look at NIL. They gotta look at who's gonna give them bigger deals and stuff like that. So big decision for those families as far as that goes. Realistic. The question was realistic goals for Mr. Miller Moss. I think it's important for him to stay healthy and keep showing that leadership. I think they were throwing on the side the other day, and it looks like Jacoby Lane is just like this kid is doing like triple black backflips on competition through Fridays. He's walking around with his shirt off, and he is cut up like like somebody had like a chisel and a hammer and just like kind of chiseled away at his physique. He really is kind of being the leader, like one of the leaders there of that wide receiving core after that big game in the Holiday Bowl. They have a lot of they have that cohesive unit for that one game. We'll see if it continues, but I think like them throwing with Moss. I feel like with them, it's just like being in these workouts, just getting closer and closer. Those wide receivers, Makai Lemon, people like that, they really can develop a really good rapport with the quarterback. And I think if he continues to do that, I think he can be in this offense, why can't he be a 30 touchdown guy? Like, you know what I mean? Like throwing the football. And he is a little bit more mobile than you think. You can run some zone read. He can get to the edge every once in a while to keep you honest. But he's gonna make most of his decisions, makes most of his big plays in the pocket, if you will. So in the pocket, in the pocket stuff from Miller Moss. But I think he could have a really good year. And I think he does have to. The USC is going to play Jaden Maeva a little bit. Like he's gonna play. I don't think he's coming over here just to. Otherwise, if he feels like he's not gonna play at all, then you're kind of stuck with one quarterback, and then because he might transfer in the if he can transfer in the next transfer portal, he might do so. But we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Let's see here. Defensive. Are you excited about the defensive coaches? I mean, I am. They need to have a year where they're in the middle of the pack defensively, where they're not a sib defensively. Let me break down some of these teams in the Big Ten. Like, let's be real about it. Like, there's not prolific passers in this conference. All right. They're not prolific passers in this conference. So if they can hold up in the run game and just make them throw the football, then you got Bear Alexander, then you can blitz Eric Gentry. You can blitz anybody on that defensive line. Like you can do some things defensively if you stop the run. I think if they can get people into third and long situations, you have a great opportunity to beat a Big Ten team. I mean, you just saw it in some of these bowl games. Like they don't have great quarterback play. I think right now is Will Howard the best. I'm thinking about the Big Ten right now. Outside of, Will Howard probably has the most potential to be a touchdown maker. I like Oregon's team, but I don't know if I like their quarterback situation as far as the kid that transferred from Oklahoma, whose name is escaping me, but I'm not big on him. I thought Bo Nix is way better than he was, and better than he is. So we'll see there as far as that goes. But yeah, I think defensively it starts with stopping the run, because the teams in this conference are going to ask themselves, I got USC coming to Michigan, coming to the big house. USC is going to either be 1-1 or 2-0 in that situation, and they're going to say, can they hold up if we run the ball 40 times? Can they hold up if we run the ball 40 times? Is this really a new USC defense? And as much as I like Entz, I like Belk, I like Danton Lynn, and I love Coach Henney, we got to find that out. And they got to get through they got to get through this whole workout phase. They got to get through this whole period of time healthy. Being healthy is going to be the biggest part for USC. They have to get through this healthy and then get ready for the season. And Lincoln Riley, with all that time to prepare for one opponent, could be a big deal. Could be a really big deal. I think they could possibly survive LSU, surprise LSU in that game. So we'll see what happens as far as that goes. Why is Lincoln Riley a whipping boy? It's easy. It's easy. It's so easy. Like, it's so easy to be lazy and just say and act like he just is not a good coach. It's just lazy. It's just lazy sports talk. It's lazy this, lazy that. Like it's so incredibly easy and lazy to say, "Oh my God, Lincoln Riley never does this, never does that, never does this, never does that," and then like just walk away from the TV screen and go to bed and kiss your wife. Like it's just easy for the folks on national to do that. Like Lincoln Riley's a top coach. Like we know he's a top coach. Go ask Louisville was a top coach. Louisville didn't really have much. Louisville didn't have much, like a lot of guys leave that game. They had going into that game. They didn't have. They had basically almost their whole team. USC just had a bunch of backups in that game. A bunch of guys who were only playing in one game and then moving on from USC football. And they really should have won that game by 3 scores. Like they won that game comfortably. So, if he didn't know how to coach football, if he doesn't know how to do this, then doesn't know how to do that. Like why would he why was his team ready to play against Louisville? Like, you know what I mean? Like they needed a cleansing of AG, of Alice Grinch. They needed a cleansing of that. It was a bad environment. Every all these numbers and everything that was being said about USC was just weird because USC had a situation where they had linebacker after linebacker after linebacker. They had Rajon Davis and they had Eric Gentry. And when those guys played, the numbers were really good. So what does he do? He doesn't play those guys. Like that's just weird to me. So he was a weird defensive coordinator. He liked speed, didn't like size. He wanted to be, kind of be faster. But when the game is tied and you have an opportunity the game is tied or you're behind, and they can just hand off the ball and just like push your defensive line back 3 yards, you had no chance. You had absolutely no chance as far as that goes. Offensive line. You want to know about Jason Zandamela? I like him. I think he's really pushing. This kid is really pushing to be the starting center for the USC Trojans. And I think, I'm not gonna doubt the kid. I think he really has an opportunity to do it. It would be great to see him do that and play there for a couple of years, 2-3 years before he got to the pros. He has an opportunity to be a special special interior lineman, and I hope that he does play center. And yes, his first game against center will be in Vegas, at Allegiant Stadium versus a really talented LSU team. So we'll see how that goes. But listen, great opportunity for him to really kind of etch his start going in. He's a really good interior lineman, and I think he does have an opportunity to start. I know that was a big question on that a lot of USC fans had. Let's see here. So I think I had one more thing I want to say before I go. Shout out to all the Trojans who are getting ready for the NFL. Senior Bowl week was good. Also, East West Shrine. Shout out to all the Trojans who are in that moment there as well too. So I know it's a big moment for them. So hopefully they are able to realize their dreams of being NFL players coming up in April as far as that goes. So always got something to talk about USC football. We'll get that ball rolling for you. In a couple of weeks we'll have USCJ back on. But in the meantime, we'll have everything covered for you on the Student Body Right USC podcast. All right, later. And fight on.